Big 12 in July. I've been spending a lot of time with Terry and Alex and the executives here on campus. My first time officially being here today. The facilities are grand. You can feel the passion and commitment from the student athletes. They're all excited about being part of the Big 12. And we're excited about the direction we're going in. You know, I often say that when Texas and Oklahoma left, Bob Bowlesby did an incredible job in his recovery efforts and bringing in the 4 new schools. Obviously, UCF is a big part of that. Our footprint, geographic footprint, has gone from 5 states to 8, go from 40 million people in our geographic footprint to over 75 million. We get to call this great state of Florida home, a recruiting hotbed. I think all of our coaches are excited to be here and excited about our future. I mean, I often say I don't think there's a better time than right now to be part of this conference for all the right reasons. From a board perspective, we are aligned. We share a common mission and vision on where we want to take this conference. I'm almost 90 days in, and I see a lot of opportunities to grow our revenue, to grow our brand, to nationalize what we do, to get on the consciousness of future student athletes from all across the country. And excited to be here, excited to be a part of it. And I think our future is extremely bright, very bullish. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Commissioner, I'm Brandon Elwick. I cover UCF for Rivals.com. Welcome
Thank
to
you so
Orlando.
much. Thrilled to be here.
You talked a lot about building the Big 12 into a national conference. You talked about expanding the footprint. What do you learn about UCF, and how important is it for the Big 12 to be in a state like Florida?
I think it's critically important. I mean, moving east was I think a goal of the former commissioner. Thrilled to be, like I said, in this great state. I think the geographic footprint truly supports our vision of being national. Obviously, you've heard me discuss expansion over the last couple of months since I've been here. And, expansion is a dynamic for us where if it's additive, we'll pursue it. And I'm excited about what the opportunities are in front of us. I truly am. But we're thrilled to be here. UCF is a big part of our future. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun together.
Commissioner Jason Beatty with the Orlando Sentinel, talking about UCF's brand. It's grown tremendously in the years since 2017, of course, undefeated season. But in football, what do you know about the UCF brand and what they want to accomplish?
Well, I'm learning a lot more about it, but I will tell you that walking around campus, spending time with Terry and his team today, they're very brand focused. They do incredible marketing efforts here, which I'm excited about, and we can possibly learn from, in fact. And I'm a very brand-centric commissioner. I think that's a very important part of our journey moving forward. And I look forward to partnering with Terry and all the things he's doing on campus and seeing what we can take here to the other member institutions.
Commissioner Mike Bianchi with your Orlando Sentinel, sort of following up on the state of Florida, Orlando. Orlando is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. No NFL team here. How do you plan to use Orlando to sort of grow the Big 12 brand? Are you going to bring events here? What's the future for Orlando?
Well, I would say that generally speaking, we have homes to our championships right now. Last week I was at Media Day in Kansas City. They've done a great job for us. We extended our championship football in Dallas. But beyond the current agreements, everything's a blank canvas. I truly want to take events around this country, whether they be our championship events or tentpole events that we create. And I think bringing an event to Florida would be fantastic for us. When I look at Orlando specifically, this is a global marketplace. And obviously we have to get our footing domestically, but we aspire to get into the international marketplace. And I think being here in Orlando and doing things here could be a catalyst for that.
Commissioner Trace Trolko, Sons of UCF. How does UCF's academic and alumni profile fit into your goals to diversify and grow the Big 12's younger fan base?
I think it's great. I mean, when I looked at a lot of the data today, 71,000 students, huge alumni from across the country. And I think that plays a big part of where we want to take this thing. We want to get younger, we want to get more diverse, more multiculturally relevant. And I think we can learn a lot from you at UCF, Terry, his team, based on many of the things you guys are doing. So very additive to our conference.
Matt Marshall, the Orlando Sentinel. You talked about with the addition of these teams, UCF and Houston, BYU. You're in the middle of discussions for a new media rights deal. How has those additions helped that kind of discussion? And has there been a positive move forward when it comes to this?
It's been a positive part of our discussions for sure. I mean, we've got, obviously the continuing 8, which we feel very strongly about, but the 4 new members coming in July are very additive to who we are and where we're going, and a big part of how we're telling our story. And we've been telling that story to ESPN and Fox over the last couple of months, and I think it's resonating at a very high level. And I know they're bullish on where we're going in our future. And if we're able to do something, and we always have the option of pausing and waiting 16 months, but if we are able to do something, the 4 new schools are a big part of that.
Brett, Jamie Say, WKMG, the CBS affiliate here in Orlando. Nice to see you. Just competition-wise, what you know about UCF's tradition of winning in football and also its other sports teams, how do you see it fitting into the Big 12 and boosting the level of competition?
Well, I heard a lot about volleyball today toward the venue. And congratulations on the women's soccer team winning the regular conference championship. Very active. I mean, listen, I think this is a conference that continues to get better. And I think with the addition of UCF and all of your sports programs and the success you've had, we will get better. It'll force us to get better. So we're excited.
Commissioner, I know there's ongoing meetings about expansion of the college football playoff. I know you're kind of the new guy in that room. There's talk maybe by 2024 there's a possibility. What would you say is the biggest challenge, perhaps, to getting the deal done to have it be effective that season?
Well, I've been on calls every couple of days. I think there's a commitment to try to get something done in 11 and 12. I think we're down to a couple of issues, but they're meaningful issues. And there's a lot of nuances that are involved. But I'm optimistic, and hopefully it's something we can move forward, because I think it's right for the game. And I think everyone's committed to seeing it through.
Commissioner up here front again. You were holding the space uniform a couple moments ago before we started talking. What do you think about UCF's aggressiveness and growing the brand and trying to be as unique as possible?
I've learned a lot about that today, about the jersey, about the partnerships, and I think it's great. I mean, I think everyone needs to carve out a point of differentiation in everything they do, especially from a brand perspective, and I think the school's doing that, and we welcome that, and we welcome that approach and that aggressive nature, and we think it'll be very additive to what we're thinking about at the Big 12.
Commissioner Kyle Nash with Black and Gold Banner Red. Obviously, a big part of what you're doing to put together your vision is competing with the other big conferences that are out there, right? The Big Ten, the SEC. What insight can you put on what you're doing to kind of battle that? What makes you unique from them? How does UCF fit into that strategy?
Well, from my perspective, I don't think much about the other conferences. I mean, they're great, and they've got their point of differentiation and great legacy and history. My goal every day is to best position us to be the best version we can be at the Big 12. And I'm very excited about our future. And as I've said before, I think we have a chance to nationalize this conference, to connect to culture like we've never done before, to get younger and hipper and cooler and more relevant, and to work with our member institutions to do that. And UCF will be a big part of that effort. So I'm really focused on how I can grow the Big 12, not just the brand, but our business. It's a big part of it. And it's not just about the TV deal, which we discussed earlier. It's how do we diversify revenue, create new tentpole events, broaden our reach, get into new businesses. Those are all things that are on the table right now, things that we're exploring.
Alex Walker with WFTV Channel 9, the ABC here in Orlando. Welcome to town.
Thank you so much.
Number 2,
Glad to be here.
Yeah, in terms of the NIL marketplace, I know you've been big in that push. Where do you think where UCF stands currently with their NIL push and what they're doing in that part?
I've got to learn more about what specifically is happening on campus here, but I will just tell you, generally speaking, and I've stated this over the last couple of weeks, we need uniformity, a national standard when it comes to NIL. I think that's critically important. Obviously, the impetus wasn't about inducements or pay for play, so we've got to put some guardrails around that, but I am an advocate of NIL, and I'm a supporter of student-athlete rights, but we need to modify some things. But I'll be spending more time with Terry to discuss how we as a conference can be, a better partner as it relates to NIL, and it's something that I'm discussing with all of our ADs.
Brett, when you arrived, obviously there's a lot of instability going on among college athletics, with conferences kind of shaking around and having realignment. What needs to be done for the Big 12 to kind of solidify itself in that discussion, that marketplace, as well as with expansion as well? You talked a little bit about expanding. Is that something maybe you have to do, maybe because to provide a little bit of stability?
Well, first of all, I love the composition of this conference right now. The 8 continuing members and the new 4 members. And very proud of kind of what's been done prior to my arrival, especially on the expansion front. So we don't have to expand. Only if it's additive, only if it creates value, only if it gets us into a 4th time zone. And another component, it needs to be the right cultural fit, whatever that member institution is. We've got great alignment right now amongst our board, amongst our member institutions. We can't compromise that at all. So, as much as I think about expansion, I'm also very happy where we are today. And if a year from now, it's just, the 12, that's great. No problem with that at all.
Brett, you talked about younger, hipper, cooler, way back when the NFL was the traditional football league, the AFL was that was their mantra. We want to be younger, hipper, cooler, do things different. Is that sort of the thing you're talking about? Do you guys want to, maybe push the envelope a little bit?
Well, listen, I've always enjoyed pushing the boundaries. I mean, career-wise, that's not a bad thing. But we're in a situation where we have to pay homage to the heritage and legacy of the Big 12, while also kind of take it to the new frontier and to get younger. And we need to storytell more than ever before. I think that's one of the things I found when I got to the conference. We haven't really created a national narrative around who we are. 2 weeks ago, we were in New York City. We did our first ever New York City Media Blitz. I thought that was very effective for us. We started to speak to people we hadn't interfaced with before. We'll do more and more of that in an effort to get younger, to be more relevant, to connect to youth culture. And I think you'll see that through events that we host moving forward. So yes, I think we can differentiate ourselves, but no gimmicks. And we have to, at the same time, make sure that we pay homage to the legacy and history of this great conference.
You guys be the fun league.
Yeah, fun is fine. That's all good.
Brett, in the back here, I have a
Yes.
shout out from Fox 35 here in town. I wonder, I know you weren't there for the initial reaction, but what has the continuing reaction been to those original 8 schools to adding UCF as a school?
And I think everyone's bullish. We have been very engaged over, at least since I've been here, and I think even since the announcement with the 4 new member institutions. So everyone's excited about it. We're all one big happy family right now. We're engaging weekly and getting ready for the official welcoming, which will take place in July. And at that point in time, obviously, we'll look to rebrand the Big 12 a little bit. We'll look a little different, a little bit more modern in our approach. We hired a new creative agency, all in an effort to, when we introduce the new Big 12 in July, that we're ready. So, no, everyone's bullish.
Brett, you talked a little bit about scheduling. How important is it to get some of those 8 founding members of the 8 parts of the Big 12, some of those teams here to UCF and some of the other new schools to kind of get maybe a rotation of them here?
Well, I think we haven't finalized the schedule yet, and we'll put that out in December. But I think it's fair to say that they'll be integrated into the continuing game, which I think will be great for fans here in Orlando.
When you look at what the NFL has done in partnering with Amazon, how do you look at streaming as part of the television packages you're creating?
I think streaming is critically important. It's a way to reach younger consumers. But I think right now, my goal is to be on the broadest based platform possible, because we need to grow some of our emerging brands. We need to distribute the Big 12 as broadly as possible. But there's a place for that digital player. And currently with ESPN, we have Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. And as we continue the conversations with ESPN, I know there's a commitment to glamorizing us and showcasing us in the biggest way possible on their digital platform. And you'll see that in advance of any kind of extension, because we've got 2 more years after this one on our current deal. So digital plays a key component, and it's part of the mix.
Commissioner, your comment you made, when you first took over, we're open for business, that sort of created a stir. Where is expansion? Are you guys still looking at I don't know, maybe some Pac-12 teams or whoever to add to your...
Everyone wants to bait me into this expansion. That's the third or fourth question. But the open for business comment was really more of an overarching view of where we want to take this conference, that we're open for business. It's a blank canvas. We're going to consider every and all options to grow this thing, whether it's through expansion, whether it's through revenue generation, whether it's building our brand. On the heels of what was happening between the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, I think people got caught up with the notion of expansion when I said open for business. But I have since restated and defined what open for business really meant, and it's just taking a different look at everything we do and applying a new lens and figuring out where we go next. And I'm excited about the progress we've made over the last 2.5 months. We've reorganized the conference office. We brought subject matter experts in specifically on the business side. We've added depth in all the right areas. I've made visits to all the campuses just to understand and better identify some of the issues that are unique to each situation. And we're in the process right now of building out a business strategy that ultimately speaks to open for business. And I think there's a lot of opportunities out there for us.
Obviously, you're newish to the job, but what should UCF fans know about the Big 12 and its goals as a conference overall? Not just in football, but just overall.
What they should know, what UCF fans should know about us as a conference.
Right, and its aspirations.
I think our aspirations are much of what I've been defining. I mean, listen, brand's important to us. We want to be national. We want to be culturally relevant. We want to connect to student athletes in all the right ways. I've stated that and much more since I've been here, and I think that's where we aspire to be. For me, it's not about being the #1 conference. It's about being the best version of ourselves, and I think there's lots of different ways we can get there, and I'm excited about our future.
You said you're approaching the 90-day mark. What's been the most surprising thing in your new role? How different from your previous roles?
Well, I'd say one of the key takeaways I've had is the enormous investments that we're making in student athletes. I didn't grow up around big campuses like UCF. And as I've toured each campus and see the infrastructure and the staffing and the resources that are afforded to our student athletes to put them in a position to be the best version of themselves, it's been very impressive to me. Something I didn't have a lens into in my prior jobs, and it's reinforced on every visit I go to. Very impressed.
Commissioner Shane Whitehead, WFTV ABC. Is men's soccer on the Big 12 future radar, do you think?
Men's soccer?
Yeah.
I can't answer that. Candidly, I haven't really focused on men's soccer. Maybe I need to. I've been focused on the women's soccer right now, but something that I'll, probably respond to more effectively, sooner than later. But haven't really focused on that.
Anybody have one last question? Go there.
We talked about finalizing the Big 12 football schedule, releasing it in December. I know there was something out in the media. Is there a commitment to have, I think it was reported that every school would have the opportunity to play each of the other schools in that 2-year
Yes,
range? You're focused on
no
that?
divisions. Yes,
Right.
that is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. Any other questions? Any last ones?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good.
Oh, thank